Welcome back for the, well, not the last bit of today's training, although in theory it is, because we're going to go through time or not. Well, we'll see how it goes. It's supposed to be 6, we might finish a tad early because we're... I'm actually getting through stuff rather quite speedily. But for those that are joining us this evening, either for the meal, the taxis will be there at 7:45 PM precisely outside here. So we'll all be in the bar. Don't be late, because otherwise the taxis will bugger off. And we're booked in at 8. For those who are going to be in the bar when we get back from there, for both sets of you, it will carry on this evening, you'll find, because you'll exchange ideas with each other. Or if you're called Sue, you'll try and crash somebody's 50th birthday party and try this stuff out. But you'll find that you carry on learning stuff this evening. And it's nice that in the break I've been speaking to 1 or 2 people and like, generally speaking, you seem to be realising that you did know all this, but some of it you didn't necessarily know that you knew because you've been shown it a different way or in a different context or you've done it in a different line of business. But at the end of the day, it's all manipulation. Right, what we were covering before was suggestibility test. If I remember correctly, just before we ended, aside from our good friend there, Bill, we showed how they, with a little thought and imagination, can turn into induction techniques. That's assuming you even want to be bothered doing an induction, because as we covered earlier in the day, it is possible to get. And just out of interest, can you try and bring back that feeling the way it was in the past? Now, I mean, can you still notice how much better you feel now than you...
It's my head.
Brilliant. Because, you know, even though it is, if you like, a mind trick, it's a mind trick that at the end of the day does work and help people. So as much as I always go on, oh, I'm a con man, we're con people, we rip people off, it just makes it seem a bit more exciting and fun to me to look at it that way, to be honest. But in truth, we're helping people. It's just perhaps sometimes a bit of a weird way of doing it. Now, was there anything else I wanted to mention on the suggestibility test? Well, we've probably all heard of Chevreul's pendulum. That's the classic one. They tell you get a ring on a string. And if you tell them to concentrate on it, go in and circle it. Well, if you tell them to do it in a line, it will. Idiomotor response. It's got no fucking practical use whatsoever. But it's got no practical use whatsoever. So that is why we will... What have we got? Something that can be used like a pendulum? It's called improvisation. Yes. We'll just... You can just imagine this is a pendulum. That'll do. Essentially, at the end of the day, the people at an unconscious level, when you tell them to think of a circle, they end up swinging the bastard. And when you say think of a straight line, they end up swinging it, so it ends up doing that. That's ultimately what's going on. So what practical use could that be? Let me see. You, sir, you like to stand up, walk this way? You probably don't want to, but you feel obliged to now. Take a seat, please. That's brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. What I'd like you to do, work with me here. It's a pendulum. It's not a lead off a CD player for perceptual reasons. Right. I don't know, take hold of it like that or something around your fingers, just so, at least for maybe just a tad longer. Just so we do get some kind of pendulum effect. Okay. In fact, we might just need to... Brilliant. Cool. That'll do. As long as you get some kind of... Brilliant. Nice one, bud. It's not an ideal pendulum. Should be a bit heavier. I'm just going to set it going. Ultimately, you know what's going to happen. So I want you to concentrate on it going in a circle. Because for this, circle is going to be yes. Okay? Circle is going to be what's right. It's going to be a roundabout way of telling you that making that circle your ring of confidence and thinking of it and focusing on that, that's brilliant. It's the positive, it's the right thing to do. The opposite to yes is no. It's the negative things that you want spout in your life. So we'll think of that as a kind of a straight line. I don't know if it's going to go forward and back, away from you and towards you, or from side to side, whatever's right for you. But That's brilliant. What I'd like you to do is just close your eyes and think, I'm just going to gently for a moment hold that still, because it'll start moving again in a minute, but not until I ask you something. I'd like you to think of a time in your life, an emotional thing. You don't need to tell us what it is, we'll do it content free. Something on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being no problem whatsoever, 10 being suicidal, oh my God, get me out of the room. It's pretty high up that scale. Don't know if it's painful, emotional, upsetting, anger or what, but something that was negative in the past. And when you get one of those in your mind's eye, I want you, without saying it out loud, but just talking to yourself, to indicate, yes, well, you'll know, your mind will tell you when you've got one of those in mind, and then you'll be able to make your ring of confidence and indicate to us that, yes, you've now got something in mind. That's brilliant. Okay, now imagine that in your mind, okay, clearly. What I'd like you to do is imagine in your mind, you're not going to know how you're able to do this. You don't need to know how you're able to do this right now, making that change. You don't know, you won't know, you have no idea how this is possible right now to make that change, but in a way that your subconscious feels is right for you. And like you to allow yourself, and you don't need to do anything other than take a few breaths in and then out, just allow yourself to realise that your subconscious can change that intensity, that feeling for you dramatically right now. And your subconscious will tell you when that job's been done, when that change has been made, which can happen right now, because it will communicate that yes to you. Your ring of confidence will become stronger and bigger. You become that complete, round, whole person once again. Now this is the bizarre thing, and this is deadly serious. On a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being no problem whatsoever, as it once was in the past, 10 being like suicidal, oh my God, leave the room. This is where you can speak out. How much lower would you say it's gone down now, thinking about it?
0.
To a 0. Brilliant. Open your eyes, give them a round of applause. And go back to a 6. Brilliant. Right, you'll have noticed the language patterns again, hopefully. You'll have noticed the future pacing, all the things that we spoke about all day. And what was the pendulum? Well, no, not what was it was a bit of a wire. But what was it doing? Fuck all. It was nothing more than a fixation of attention. And so, yeah, the suggestion was there, circle for yes, ring of confidence, whole, a few embedded commands like change, round, whole person, feel good. But ultimately, at the end of the day, sooner or later, thinking of a circle will make you make it into a circle. So it's possible then that the client comes to believe this has happened because of some subconscious. And if they come to believe that, then that is the state of mind they will be in. So they will believe that that change will carry forth with them. The irony, I mean, there's loads of books out there that would argue that something does go on at a subconscious or conscious level, because we all have this ability within us to solve our own problems. Yeah, who knows? Who cares? As long as you get them. Just out of interest, what number was it before it was a 0?
About 7 or 8.
Oh, so it was a bit different. Right, good man. It would have been a bit naff that really if it was a 1. I never asked you. You know, it would have been really, wouldn't it? But I forgot to ask you that. You see, even I cock up sometimes. I forgot to ask the first time round. It does help to have that verbal difference as well as something physically going on for the fixation of attention. Because that's all the pendulum was, a prop, a fixation, a mind distraction. And if the mind's distracted, essentially, it could be argued, if there is such a thing as a trance state, depends how you define it, what you want to call it. So perhaps we should call this new set of DVDs, because it's slightly different than the last seminar, something like, there might possibly be something like hypnosis, but it's got many different names. But I don't think that'll fit on the box. But let's say there is such a thing as a trance, like watching the film, the psychobabble crap that, you know, we're taught to come out with is that, you know, when you watch that film and get absorbed into it and somebody says, do you want a drink? And you hear them, but then it takes a while and you go, what was that? Even though you heard what they said. Allegedly, that's a trance. I'd say it was a bloody good porn film I was watching, but that's another story. But seriously, they say that was a trance, that you were absorbed by it. Now, assuming that was to be true, okay, certainly something going on, you're absorbed by it, your attention's fixated. If that is a trance, then surely being fixated on the pendulum or tapping is a trance in just the same way as that would be if indeed that is what it is. Personally, I don't think it is a trance, but that's a totally different debate. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it feels like or is something that can be used beneficially to help your clients and or entertain people. Because all of these techniques, even the therapeutic ones, I hope, take as examples for those that were interested in the stage. It's essentially identical. It's just the difference between saying now you'll feel better and your problem's gone and whatever, to saying when you wake up on the count of 3 you'll, you know, run around like a chicken or whatever. It's just a different arena, theatre, environment, but you're using exactly the same tool bag of, how shall we say, cons, tricks, call them what you will. Okay. Right. What time are we on? Yes, I think for today we'll start off, we'll do some of these inductions, go through them for you, to give you something to think about tonight, and then tomorrow we'll finish them off before we go into complete mind therapy, or NLP taught in 1 hour to master practitioner level rather than 9 days. 9 fucking days? Anyway. If you want one, I will do you one. Because there's no trademark on NLP in England anymore, so anyone can issue and sign. So yeah, I can sign them for you, Dr. Jonathan Rowe, BSc, NLP Master Practitioner, yeah? And it's just as worthless as all the other wanky bits made. It looks good on the wall. It's a good psychological tool. Exactly.
Covers the crack.
Exactly, covers the crack. Indeed. Right, tremendous. Okay. For each of these, it's probably going to be quicker to elect, because we're only going to do a few of them. Thank you, remind me to come into your bedroom and ruin your performance sometime. Only joking. Right. I think we'll elect one person because you're going to have to kind of act as a spokesperson for the rest of the people. Now, I probably could drag this out for 9 days. Teaching an induction, splitting you off in groups so you could arse-lick each other and practice it. And go, oh, that was wonderful! It felt really good. Because you're only saying that because you want them to say something nice to you afterwards. But that's not going to fucking help you one blind bit in the real world. Being adaptable, versatile, thinking on your feet, learning the fine art of hypnotic language patterns and stuff like that, that will help you immensely. Knowing how and why these particular techniques work, which some are more suited to therapeutic work, some more to stage, especially the ones where you throw people on the floor. But understanding the psychology behind them will be helpful to you because it will further emphasise and illustrate that we've already spoken about and that's to come tomorrow, and hopefully make even more sense in your mind so that you too don't need to keep wasting money on courses. And that wasn't an embedded command, it just came out like keep wasting money on courses. Sorry. I can't help it sometimes. So let's elect somebody who eat it, mean it, mine it more. I'm going to pick on you in the morning if I can. Okay. Yeah, in the morning. Could we pick on... Yeah, go on. Hang on. How good's my back going to be? Yeah. Pick on you, sir. Yeah, yeah. Give him a round of applause, because he will deserve it in a minute. Cheers, fella. Alright, I'm not going to get you to slap yourself in the face or anything like that, I promise. Now, hopefully by this point, we've kind of established the fact that you're not going to go into a trance, because there's no such fucking thing. And with the knowledge and awareness that you've got, you're obviously going to be quite acutely aware of some of the language patterns I use. So let's be honest, they ain't going to work in the way that they would work on somebody who didn't know that was going on anyway. Which is another reason why I always think it's pointless at these things to break up into groups and practice it. Because the whole effectiveness of most of the stuff is the fact that the person you're doing it on doesn't know what's going on. You know, but you will. So on this occasion, if you like, be a stooge. But just try and do what I say as much as possible, so that then you can be, if you like, the body witness for the group to explain what it felt like, so that it saves breaking up into groups and wasting loads of time. Really? Okay? Brilliant. Thank you, sir. What I'd like you to do is just walk this way. Okay? Brilliant. Just face that direction. Feet together. Brilliant. Hands by your side. Tilt your head well back. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Then out through your mouth. Just so long as you keep your eyes tightly closed at all times, you'll find on the count of 1, when I say sleep, you'll feel yourself falling gently backwards into my arms. I won't let you fall and hurt yourself. I'll just lay you down gently into a lovely, relaxed, sleep-like state. 3, nice deep breath in through your nose. Just so long as you keep your eyes tightly closed at all times, then you will find that you feel yourself falling gently backwards into my arms. 2, you feel yourself falling gently backwards, feel yourself falling back. Sleep, relax, deep, slide. Oh, fucking hell, he went like a sack of shit. Drifting down deeper, eyes remain tightly closed. Drifting down deeper. I tap you on the head, you'll open your eyes, because hey, you're not fucking hypnotised anyway. Right away. Round of applause for a bottle. Just stay here a moment, now you see, I've not broken your back, have I? Not bad at all. Right. I don't want to put words into your mouth, so I'm going to stand behind you, okay, and I'm going to write on this piece of paper the kind of things, and everyone experiences differently, obviously, but hopefully the kind of things that in a minute you might end up saying you felt or experienced. So yeah, there's that as well. There's Ari. Right, I mean, I could be here all day because there's loads of different feelings people have. These are just kind of, hopefully, you know, the most common ones. So now that I can't be accused of putting words into your mouth, taking it from the top, from when I grabbed hold of you in a rather rude manner and dragged you over here, which is the way that you would do that for reasons we'll explain in a minute. What were you feeling, experiencing? I know that's a bit hard to try and relate when you...
Yeah, I felt like you was in charge and I was being told what to do, where to put, disorientating a little bit.
And we dragged you over there and whacked your feet together and tilted your head back, and...
There was a lot going on at the same time. It was like... I was trying to listen, but it was confusing, but I was being pulled one way and told to do something. Like, same thing really, being disorientated.
How aware were you of, without putting words in your mouth, but how aware were you of my fingers on your forehead? Were you aware of anything in particular?
Not really. I was concentrating more, to be fair, because I know how it's done and how it works. I was confident that I was going to be caught, I wasn't going to fall, but I was concentrating more on the falling backwards than I was on what else was going on. Right. Whereas, to be fair, if it was somebody else...
Well, you said a couple of things, exactly, that don't know what's going on, but you said, the idea for it, the dragging around is taking control. You'll have recognised that from before, no doubt. Doing everything fast is for the confusion, exactly as you said, which I did write that down. But slightly dizzy, because when you tilt somebody's head back and get them to breathe in and out and their eyes are closed, it does tend to, well, it sends more oxygen than you normally be getting at that time to the brain. And some people experience it as dizziness, lightheadedness, confusion, whatever label you want to put on it. But then, because this is all happening so fast, they come to the conclusion, for those that don't know the tricks like me, that it's a weird feeling they're having because hypnosis, the magical thing's taking place. So if it's taking place, this is the time, so to speak. But being drawn back, now you weren't too aware of it, but with the head, if I can just demonstrate, we put the feet together, so we tap, but that's because then you've got a pivot. So now it's very easy to tilt the person. The arms by the side is just, that's optional, you can get the hands against the chest. I just prefer it by the side because then I can put one arm under, so I'm already there, ready to guarantee I can catch the person. So I'm not going to hurt them. Because otherwise they're not going to trust you for the rest of the show or session. If you said that you wouldn't hurt them and then you do, they're going to lose faith in you a bit. The head well back, well the shoulder, my elbow is on the shoulder. So I can kind of push that way, which is probably that pulling around everywhere feeling, but I can also move back as it were. The head tilting back, well you see I'm at the so-called psychic third eye centre here. And as I was counting, I'm ever so gently, and I mean so gentle, you can hardly feel it, gently pulling that thing, and you notice then, even then you start, it's so gentle without saying anything, you do tend to follow the finger. And I'm not pulling here, it is just gently that.
Let's stop.
Will you? Yeah, you're stopping now because you can, yeah. Try it on each other if you so desire, you know, tonight. The more gentler it is, they don't become consciously aware. It's not like you're trying to pull them back with the head. It's so gentle, but it's a non-verbal suggestion and people follow it. So by the point you get to that count of one, they're already leaning back so much, all you've got to do is kind of take one step back and put your hand like that, and they're falling down into you. But they come to the shocking realisation, shock, scared, what the fuck's going on? They're just kind of other things around it. Oh my God, I'm going to the floor. But he told me that would happen, and it is happening. So something magical must be happening. It's false logic, but it's what tricks them into that state of mind. And the beauty of it is right at the beginning, we did throw in that. Just so long as you keep your eyes tightly closed at all times. And the irony of it is, even more you were playing along, because of the context of what we're doing, when you did get to the floor and you thought a few seconds had passed, so you could open your eyes now. You know, so I just came along and said, close your eyes, go back to sleep. Just carry on like it's no big deal. That happens all the time, and you did.
Yeah.
Even though there was really no logical reason, because you already had an idea what I was going to do.
It's because you're in charge and you told me what to do, so I did it, basically.
Which goes back to the authority figure thing, and yet that's how easy it is just by giving somebody a label. Brilliant. A slight alteration on that is to get somebody to stand facing you, put the feet together, hands by the side, and to look directly into your eyes, the old stereotypical look into my eyes. But notice what I do with my body, because this is, right, I'm going to count from 3 to 1. I'm not going to lay you out on the floor. I'm going to stop you kind of here, okay? I mean, if I was on stage, I probably would lay you down, but not here, because otherwise I'll put me back up before tomorrow. Alright, just look directly into my eyes, that's wonderful. Take a nice deep breath in, and then out, and just close your eyes down. And just so long as you keep your eyes tightly closed at all times, this will be successful for you, because on the count of 1, if you concentrate, as I'm sure you will, you'll feel yourself, it's almost as if you're being drawn gently towards me, 3, 2, 1, and I mean, you did stop yourself there, but you were starting to move very early on. Now, I wasn't applying much pressure, was I?
No, it's the same scenario.
Very, very gentle, it's non-verbal. But then comes that moment of shock. Look at me, I am falling forward. Which is what you said was going to happen beforehand. So when the thing happens that you said would happen, they come to believe that what you say occurs. So therefore, it must be hypnosis. Allegedly, apparently. So they say. Eyes glued together, we did that earlier. So I don't need to repeat that. That's the eyes looking up, triangle on the head. I'm just taking it into an induction. Locked hands over the face. This is a great one. You can do it with somebody stood up or sat down, but we'll do it stood up. And I'll let you sit down after this one.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers, bud. And just put your hands out in front of you like that. That's wonderful. Interlock your fingers. The fingers of the left hand against the back of the right hand. Fingers are right. You've got it. How's it? You've seen this before. Brilliant. And then just put your hands away from you like that. That's brilliant. Up above your head and stare directly at the back of your hands. Now you will not fall over at any time. And that is not an embedded command. If you can stand stiff and rigid, you can stand stiff and rigid. I'm going to count from 3 to 1. And as you push your hands high towards the sky, towards the rainbow, you'll find on the count of 1, if you concentrate, as I'm sure you will, that your hands will be locked, glued, welded, cemented in place. 3, it's almost as though the world's strongest super glue is sticking your hands together. 2, bullshit psychobabble, kill some time. And on 1, just keep pushing high towards the sky, towards the rainbow. Just so long as you keep pushing high towards the sky, towards the rainbow, you find that your hands are stuck together. Keep trying, the more you try. And now just stop trying and take a nice deep breath in. Look directly at the back of your hands. Keep breathing in. And then out. As I lower your hands down over your face, you'll find that your eyes start to get so heavy and so tired. 3. Looking directly at the back of your hands, as your hands drift down and you feel all that weight lifting off your shoulders, that sense of relief as you lower down on 2. Nice deep breath in. And then out. 1, just letting your eyes close down, drifting down your hands. You can stand, brilliant. Oh, that is lovely. Just like a loose limb. I'm not too bad at it. That sounded a bit sexual, but not in a gay way. I hope you understand. I was thinking, oh, I don't know if you felt it. I mean, obviously it's different for everyone, but majority of the time, after a while, that bit tends to get knackered. Well, especially when you waffle on for a while. And then there is a genuine sense of relief when you lower your arms down, because you're no longer in that position. So you're anchoring the idea of relaxing to the lowering the hands down, but also by having their eyes looking at the hand. As you lower the hand over their face, if they follow it with their eyes like they're supposed to, they're naturally moving their head forward, so that by the count of 1 it's in that down here position. So if they haven't already done it, which most people will have done, you could just say, just close your eyes and let yourself relax more and drift down. As it happens, you're a wonderful stooge and close your eyes early. Give them a round of applause as it goes back to the audience. Thank you.
Would you use that technique also on the people who are larger and bigger than you are?
I do. Now, alright, health and safety issue here, I suppose. This one is, it's up to you. I have done this on my security consultant at the back, Steve, on people as big as Mr. McLean over there, without hurting them. You know, the dropping them back or the forward. What does tend to happen is, if you're doing it quite often, because you only tend to do this if you're doing a group session, you want to do something impressive or it's a show or something, is that if you've got quite a bit of work on, after a few days you wake up with the most fucking terrible back pain. Because when you're doing the dropping back one, you suddenly get this weight going and you... So it is, put it this way, if it was a case of working for an employer, rather than being self-employed, health and safety would never let you do it. But it looks bloody good. It's worth a bit of pain. But yeah, the smaller they are, the less it's going to hurt you. But and you can always drop them. It does sound right. I know I said don't let them lose trust in you. Never, if you're doing a stage show, do this on the first person, because the first person is your most important. Getting them to apparently have their eyes closed and be out of it zombified, so that the rest of the volunteers who have the bottle to come up on stage see that and think that's what's going to happen to me. It's the most important part of the show, because then the rest are far easier to get manipulated. But once you've done the first one, maybe the second one, somewhere near the end, because the more you go on, the sheep effect comes in and the more obliged people feel to participate. Especially if then you've gone, oh, that's wonderful, you've got such wonderful powers of mind. Ego butter into there thinking, oh, I don't want to look at it. Then yeah, near the end, you could kind of just head back, eyes closed, 3, 2, 1, falling back, and just kind of cushion the fall a bit, so you're just letting go of them here, so it just cushions it. Let them fall. Now, the worst that's going to happen is they'll open their eyes, but if they do, you just walk up and go, eyes closed, sleep, use your powers of mind. Which is a nice way of saying, close your fucking eyes. But the chances are they won't either because they're now unconscious, or, no, generally because they're cooperating, because they don't want to look at it. And the show's now gone down this psychological route enough that they've seen several other people, and they've seen that you've made them look good by, oh, you've got wonderful powers of mind. So the last thing they want to do is turn into, especially if just before that you've maybe done a Mr. Irvine on somebody and sent somebody back. So they've seen it genuinely work, then they've seen you make a tit of somebody, and then, well, they'd sooner have a praised ego rather than looking like a tit. So, you know, and then because they play along and keep their eyes closed, and I'm not saying they consciously play along, although some people questionably, undoubtedly, I'm certain do, but they get to a psychological state, should we perhaps better say, where they believe the magic's took place and they're hypnotised, because of all these suggestibility tests, all the other crap that comes into it, and with the stage show, that's also your lighting, your costumes, the fact the posters have been up for a few weeks in advance, and they've built up this expectancy, they're going to see a hypnotist. They don't go and say, we're going and seeing this guy who, it says he's an hypnotist, don't know, might be, do they? No, they tend to say, we're going seeing an hypnotist to the mates, they're embedding the idea in their head, they're already hypnotising themselves before they volunteer and step foot on stage. But there comes a point where it becomes self-fulfilling, so they kind of, let's say, play along, but then, after a while, they're going to look an even bigger tit if they stop doing what they're doing in the context of the stage show, because to then be sent back to the audience would imply that they weren't hypnotised in the first place, so why did they sit there talking as if the testicles were talking to each other, or some other strange routine? So they've got a bit of a problem now, and when they realise that, because this is my assumption of what goes on in the head, whether they're aware of it or not, when they realise that, they think, oh, fuck it, I may as well go back to the audience afterwards and be able to say, well, he or she made me do it. I didn't know what I was doing, or I knew what I was doing, but I couldn't stop myself. So they've got that wonderful get-out clause, which allows them to ultimately make a tit of themselves. Okay. I don't want to cover any more of those inductions really today, because it all interrelates into therapy then tomorrow. So, just for the next kind of half hour, based on what we've done today, which hopefully sees actually a hell of a lot, is there any questions on anything? Are there any bits that haven't quite made sense? Miss Ola?
Hello there. In one-to-one therapy, there's a big hoo-ha and a big fear about abreaction.
Right.
And I'm wondering what your take on that is.
I think abreaction is nothing more than fucking attention seeking. And I mean that seriously. Yes, there are therapeutic approaches that teach you to create a heightened emotional state so that the person will abreact, in other words, break down crying and have this catharsis moment, and then they'll feel better because of it. They realised Uncle Albert shagged them, or whatever. But I think that's a bit cruel, really, when it's not necessary, really. Abreaction spontaneous, which is I think what you're more referring to, like somebody just suddenly going, ah! Uncle Johnny tossed me off, whatever. Yeah, it might happen, but, you know, if it does, you just look like this happens all the time. You go, that's fine, just let it out of your system now. Just close your eyes back down, that's wonderful. Just take a few moments, and in a way that feels right for you, leave it up to me, in a way that feels right for you, just allow yourself to leave that behind and move back into the here and now.
I found when it's happened on the other occasions with me, I found that the person's been so deeply into it, totally confused, having a bit of a nightmare, don't know where the hell they are. And they sort of come to and they go, oh, and they're confused. And it's easy to reassure and take them back into relaxation and talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, well, I mean, do what you feel right with. As well, there is that element. Do what you personally, I would say, when it happens spontaneously, unless they were already psychologically on the edge, which if they were, they're probably in the rounds of needing a fucking psychiatrist rather than an hypnotist, in which case you shouldn't really be dealing with it, and why would you want to anyway? have a suicidal axe murderer in the office? Yeah, maybe not. Unless that's you, of course. Then, it's quite often, not all the time, but quite often, attention seeking. They perhaps get ignored at work. It's got fuck all to do with, you know, a lot of people come for therapy and they couldn't give a flying whether it works or not. They just want somebody to talk to and offload the problems to. Especially in America. Everyone, just go and talk. I've been seeing, but that people in America, wonderfully, and in some other countries, it is acceptable and people aren't laughed at for having a therapist. Now, as that becomes more and more the perception, shall we say, in England or other countries, well, you'll automatically all end up getting more clients anyway. Because suddenly it'll become the trendy thing to have your own therapist. And then it comes down to, well, are you going to feel guilty about taking money off them every week for nothing more really than doing what you do over a pint in the bar with one of your friends who had a problem, talking and listening? Because there you go, that's a 6-week counselling course in 2 minutes. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them in those proportions. Let them use open-ended questions. Well, how did that make you feel? Well, what does that make you feel like now? How do you think you could have done this differently? Leave it all up to them, open-ended. It gets them talking, it gets it off the chest. Problem shared is a problem half, allegedly. And they will feel better for it. If they feel better for it and that's what they were paying you for, then what's it bloody matter? You know, if they're happy, doesn't matter how you get them to the point, within reason, of being happy, but as long as it's legal, we'll just put that stipulation, and relatively safe, then use any and every trick in the book that you can, and make it up as you go along. Although we will cover actual so-called NLP techniques and actual allegedly useful therapeutic techniques tomorrow. We will go through some. But technically speaking, if you create the right environment, it wouldn't matter if you got a stick of celery and said, look, this is celery therapy. Or carrot therapy. No, celery was funnier, wasn't it? Yeah, good. I remember that for a few. Don't I? Celery doesn't. And I'm going to whack you in the face with this stick of celery 3 times. And then all your problems will disappear. Well, what's the difference between that and tap, 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 or pendulum, 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 or induction, induction, now we'll talk to you because you think you've gone through some magical process? The answer is precisely none. Well, the celery is the difference. That's the only bit. As long as they believe and expect it to work, your intent is one that's a positive, confident, believing that, you know, transmitting that this will work sort of attitude, so they pick up on that. You've got your bits of paper around as well, which are like your posters at the show, your diplomas on the wall, which, well, you must have them for a reason. Then essentially, don't get the biggest message from today. Tomorrow, there's a totally different message to give you. All on the same theme, but far more techniques, doing what have you. But today's main message I want you to take is to be flexible, adaptable. Don't get stuck in the rut of using a script. By all means, if you want to, use a script. Yeah, if you do it in such a manner that the client doesn't know. I mean, I started out doing therapy at the age of 14. I got some scripts, quite literally, for the induction, the deepening. And I get there, I say, if you'd like to lie down, if you want to sit, whatever's right for you. And then just close your eyes, and just so long, and this is all back then, and I've never read this in a book except mine, but just so long as you keep your eyes tightly closed at all times, this will be successful for you. And at that point, then they don't know what's happening when I open the case and take the script out. And that's how I started doing therapy. I read it word for word, and then put it back in the case just before I said, and now open your eyes. And these people were having life-changing experiences. However, I am also certain that had they known all I was going to do was read them a script, it would not have been anywhere near as successful, and there would have been far more failures than successes, because the psychological connotation of somebody taking the time and attention to speak to them personally, personalise it, not make it up, but do it from their experience, but apparently tailored and structured to them. It gives it that personal feel, which surely is the key to all therapy, is to make people feel as though they are loved, wanted, needed, appreciated and cared for. Because it's generally one of those things that they're lacking, or the problem itself is generally down to I've forgotten my own list now. Confidence, willpower or self-esteem. Stroke self-image. Well, that is one. It's normally a confidence thing, self-esteem, self-image or willpower. Willpower is your habits, self-esteem, stroke self-image, eating disorders, confidence. One of those three, so there isn't, although we are all very different as human beings, there isn't actually a lot of difference to the underlying cause of all problems. Yeah, one person might now have an allergy of milk because uncle whatever off in her face when she was a kid. For somebody else, it's because somebody had put a dead spider in the flipping yogurt or whatever when she was younger. And doesn't matter. The key thing is now, for some reason, they're reacting to this trigger stimulus that's been anchored within them in a manner that they've decided is no longer acceptable to them. It's not that it's necessarily dangerous or awkward, because if they avoid that stuff, they don't get the allergic breakout. But they've decided when they come to you, the majority of the time, clients when they come to you have decided they're ready for a change, so that intent's already there, making your job a hell of a lot easier. So do you really need to know what the cause was? No. All we need to know is that there is a cause, and if it's causing a negative outcome for them at the moment, it will be in some shape or form a misunderstanding, something negative, painful, or emotionally bad. We don't need to know what it is. If you do want to use a type of therapy that normally involves them reliving it, then you're a sick fuck. But aside from that, if you did want to do that, do it content-free. They don't have to tell you. They can just think it in their head. As you've seen me do a couple of times today, because of it being an event like this and being filmed, it wouldn't be, nice. Unless you want to tell us in the bar after if something you've seen. Oh, I'm serious now. You don't need to know. How does that help you? As long as you can, if you like, rewire it, 'cause it's all about pain and pleasure. If at the minute something is happening in their life that they see as being painful, and by painful I mean no longer acceptable, it doesn't necessarily have to be pain. At that moment in time, there is something causing that, but they're getting some kind of pleasure through that behaviour. Or that pleasure might just be as simple as avoiding a memory of something or what have you. So you've got to imagine it like their mind is a plug, and it's been wired up wrong. The two wires the wrong way around. Pleasure's where pain is, and pain's been wired up where pleasure is. So depending on what their particular problem is, if it was smoking, let's say at the minute it could be that they're getting more pleasure from smoking than the idea of giving up would give them, because that would then cause them the thoughts of pain, of, oh, it's going to be difficult, I'll get irritable, I'll bite my fingernails, I'll eat too much, or whatever. And whatever you do, your phraseology, your bullshit, or your actually worthwhile therapeutic techniques, which we'll go through tomorrow, have got to be aimed, targeted at wiring it up so it becomes pleasurable not to smoke, and it becomes painful, the idea, thought, or habit of doing it. And if it's somebody who, for example, at the minute, let's say, is scared of public speaking, the idea of getting up at the sales conference and talking is painful. Yeah, no. I don't want to do it, they come out in a sweat. The idea of, oh, delegate it to somebody else is so wonderfully pleasurable and nice, that's better, what a relief. If there's no other choice or desire but to rectify that behaviour pattern so that they're not a bag of nerves and it doesn't give them nearly a heart attack every time, then you need to rewire it so it becomes painful not to get up and do the talk, and pleasurable and like, yeah, brilliant, makes me feel good to do it. And that, you know, is different for everyone, because it might be that the idea that they could lose the job if they didn't start doing these talks might be enough of a leverage for you to open that door to get past the bouncer and put something positive in their head and reframe them. Yeah, you look wonderful in that image in your mind, and change the direction of the colours you feel inside you, change the direction and tap here 10 times and think about public speaking now. When it bothered you before, how much lower is it now? You know, even just a couple of daft things we've done today as demonstrations. See, with a bit of common sense, a bit of thought on your part, you never need to buy another fucking book, or course, or anything. Because what we've done today is the building blocks of hypnosis, NLP, well, every therapy I can think of really, including conventional medicine. Because the best doctors are the ones that either consciously or unconsciously are aware of what they are saying and doing and the intent they have. You've heard the phrase bedside manner. Oh, I hope that doctor's on, because that one is horrible. He gets you in, he gets you out, gives you tablets. Especially the old women, they prefer to have the one that will listen to them for a bit, make them feel special. And they go, oh, what a lovely bedside manner. I do feel better when I've been to see him. These are lessons in life that are all around us that are so obvious that people ignore them sometimes. And there's been studies done, this is proven scientific medical fact, that the doctor, could be two doctors, this doctor gives out, they're both giving out the same pills for the same problem to similar types of people. It's just that this doctor says, take these twice a day for the next week, and then if you need to come back and see me, if they don't work, come and see me, implying it's a possibility they might not work. Then you've got the doctor over here who gives them and says, take these twice a day for the next week and you'll be fine. And never gives any suggestion that they might not work. And it's been proven that the difference in people's recovery is dramatically obvious, that it's because of just that one sentence difference. And yeah, obviously the ones it doesn't work for, because there will be some, because at the end of the day it's just a placebo effect, most drugs, will end up contacting the doctor again anyway. But it's a negative embedded command. So look at what doctors do. Look at, you know, it doesn't matter what the tool is, whether it's a herb, acupuncture, prodding somebody, tapping, NLP, IMDR, whatever, something where you get them to look at your finger and keep wiggling down. I'm not joking. I think it's called IMDR or ED. Pardon?
EMDR.
EMDR. Don't know what it stands for.
No.
But basically it involves a pencil or a pen holding around. Think of that emotional problem. How much better does it feel now? Not much yet, right, go. And that's what they do, they have them sat there for hours looking at this waggly pen. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. And there's people running courses teaching this. Right? Teaching that and charging a lot of money to teach people that. And then those people are going out and doing it, and people are paying good money to have it done on them, and it's working for lots of them. Why? Because the therapist who's learnt it has been brainwashed by the person who taught them. to believe that this is going to work. So they give out a nice positive intent that I believe this will work, intent. The patient belief expectancy placebo. It doesn't matter what title you give it, what name, what props you use, how you present it, what terminology you use. At the end of the day, it all roots back to the same bullshit building blocks that we've covered today, which we'll elaborate on tomorrow by actually doing more inductions and doing more actual techniques, and before the end of the day telling you one or two very easy, very nice, profitable, quick ways to start making some more money out of this bullshit. So yeah, whatever you call it, it's all the same thing. Any more questions? Because we were doing questions then, but I just went off on one, as I often do.
On the last course, you
Yeah.
said that there was a way to guarantee phobia cures, but I don't think we ever got round to what that was.
You're right, we didn't, because well, I went off on one. So, could you please jot down now, make a note of it. This is your job for tomorrow morning, Sue. Okay, that'll take about an hour or so to do that. I'll have to demonstrate. I'll do it on somebody.
Question, repeat it, please. I didn't hear.
The question was, is there a way to guarantee a phobia cure in one session? The answer is yes, but it'll take me at least an hour, hour and a half to explain. But the irony of it is, when I cover complete mind therapy tomorrow, what I've structured together as this 1 hour treatment approach, because all the elements that make it up, actually ironically also make up a Master Practitioner course in NLP, so we'll be covering that from that point of view. 9 days. But when I demonstrate it so you see how it works, we'll do it for a phobia, because it can be used for anything and everything, and I'll just chuck in the bit that answers the question for you, so remind me, because otherwise I'll be halfway through doing a weight loss session and it was supposed to be a phobia, so that's your job for the morning, so cheers. Any more questions before we get pissed?
Would you be also talking on forensic hypnosis tomorrow?
On?
Forensic.
Forensic hypnosis, okay. I'll answer it now for you, because all you need to know is this, it's bullshit. Now, you probably have hundreds of instances where you've read or know of where it's been used successfully. Fine. There are lots of instances out like that. Out there, you set of teeth. Like that out there. But equally, if you look for them, there's as many, if not more, of it being absolutely complete and utter fucking waste of time. The theory of it is that by being relaxed in trance, they can recollect what took place, remember things clearer, descriptions, and that, which, fair enough. There is a fundamental truth in the fact that somebody being asked those types of questions after something that might have been a traumatic event, if they are relaxed and don't feel pressurised and stressed, of course it's highly likely they're going to remember a lot more than if they've got some police officer going, now, you must be able to remember more than that. Well, that's nothing really to do with the hypnosis, it's to do with the fact they're relaxed. Hypnosis is just a tool to get them relaxed so that the natural free flow of ideas comes in, but you've got to be very careful not to question them in a manner where you can implant false memories. So it's not how, it's not like in that room at that time, where was the gun? There might not have been a gun there at all. But if you say, where was the gun? Because you've been told by somebody else, the police officer, there was a gun there, but that might not be true, remember? Well, that implies that there was a gun there, that you know as the officer it was there, and all you're trying to find out is where people can quite often come to want to please the authority figure and create, genuinely within themselves, what they'll end up after. You'd be connected to a lie detector and swear blind they saw this gun, even though it wasn't there. Could the false memories then been implanted? The bouncer was having his day off, like, and the thing went straight in. So you've got to be incredibly careful the way you phrase things, as you look around the room. What do you see? That leaves it open to them to say nothing, a table, a chair. and then just repeat back to them what they've said. So if they said there was a table and a chair, you say, well, are you close enough to be able to tell me what type of table and what type of chair? Because you know for definite they've already said there's a table and chair, and then so they might tell you whatever. Is there, you know, anything else you notice about the table or chair? Not is there anything on the table? Is there anything else you notice? Because if there is, they're likely to say that. So you've got to be very careful the structuring of your questions. And I would say from a legalities point of view, I don't know what it's like in India. I'm sure you know your laws there far, far better than me. But certainly in America, most states, as far as I'm aware, it's illegal for a so-called lay hypnotist, although you're state registered there, but whatever name it goes by, to do forensic hypnosis. Generally speaking, they have to bring in somebody who's been vetted by the police and done all manner of interrogation training, so that they don't end up asking things, putting words in the mouth. And so be careful legally if you're going to give it a go. Yeah, it can be done, but I think you're getting back then into the realms of things like psychoanalysis and free association, where the theory was, you know, say to your client, so as you go back to that time when you were 7 and, you know, it was painful, assuming that something painful happened when they were 7, it might not have done. But you lead them and you go, right, and you're there now and you can feel that pain. What was it? You're putting them on the spot to come up with something. And more often than not, when you create an environment like that, people do come up with something. But then because they've created it in a psychologically conducive environment, or unconducive, depending on which way you look at it, they then remember it after the event as if it had genuinely happened. So you can actually cause people more harm. Potentially, I'm not saying you would, but potentially I wouldn't get involved. I mean, the one book I've read that's interesting on that subject is called Forensic Hypnosis, oddly enough, by Tom Silver. www.tom, yeah, TOMSILVER, tomsilver.com. American guy, and it's about quite a thick book. But I'm a bit dubious, because if you have a look at it, it does look like with some of the case studies there might be a bit of language misinterpretation, you know, feeding things. So, right, any more before we have an early back? Again,
Yeah. Is there anything a psychiatrist can do that we can't do in a therapy situation?
Well, call themselves a psychiatrist for starters, because it's a protected title. In England, hypnotist, hypnotherapist, psychotherapist, oddly, NLP, a life coach, mind fuck, meridian energy therapist, crystal healer, OPA candles, what the fuck's that all about? Whatever you call it, within limits, are legal. But there are certain protected titles, one of which is psychiatrist, in much the same way as you can call yourself a legal advisor, but you can't call yourself a barrister unless you've done your bar exam. And they can also prescribe drugs.
Right.
Prescription drugs, they can actually prescribe them.
It's just that like the feedback I'm getting with some people.
And they can fuck people's heads up a lot quicker. They're
They're
making them worse. Yeah. I would hasten to say they're probably doing more harm than good the majority of the time. Because a lot of the time it is relive that, desensitisation. You're fucking mentally raping the person week after week, putting them through it again. It's legal, they're allowed to do it, it's classed as conventional medicine, but I think that is where we're getting into the realms of unethical. When you can help somebody live their life in a happier, more positive way without having to have them relive everything time and time again.
Some using when they call it a practice, because that's what they do, the practice of man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately, yeah. But no, they can prescribe drugs, they've got a title they can use, They can make referrals to other medical specialists, and that's about it really. And they can talk down to you very snottily, like they think they know better than
And they can section you.
They can section you, yeah. Yeah, there is that. Pardon? Police can as well. Right.
What's that saying?
Right, enough of that. Right. Any more before we go to the bar? Does that pretty much make sense what we covered today? So you're ready for a bright and early start? We'll say bright and early. In here so we can start at 10 o'clock. Not so that we're waiting for people. Because I am going to start tomorrow at 10 AM. There's only 2 people in. I'll do the seminar for 2 people. And you can all recover your hangovers and then show up on Monday. What have I missed? But otherwise, tomorrow, just briefly, we'll cover complete mind therapy, which essentially will be an NLP Master Practitioner course in the space of an hour. Which will tie in with phobias, because you'll remind me about that. We'll cover some more inductions. Why you'd ever want any more, I don't know. But we'll give you some more just to show you some other psychological tricks, and it'll remind me of some metaphoric stories that should help you. Yeah, a bit more on language patterns and suggestions.
How about something like, some people do something like regression?
Past life regression? Yeah, we'll cover that tomorrow actually, yeah. Yeah, because we've got through this a bit quicker than I thought so far, so yeah, there'll be time to cover that. But that's now your job to remind me. Alright? Cheers. Good woman. Yeah, well actually that's interesting, because it'll be a nice bit of practice for me, because 25th of May I thought, I just got fed up, so this psychic guy said to me, this past life, by the way I think it's bollocks, past life regression, but I mean, there might be something in it, but is it cell memory, is it this? For the context of this seminar, it's bollocks. It's a totally different seminar, getting into having lived before and all that. But from the terms of putting somebody under, taking the money off them, asking them questions, recording it and giving them a tape so they can go away and say they were Joan of Arc or whatever, then yeah, it's a useful money earner. And can actually be therapeutic, because somebody, for example, who's got a sore arm, past life regression, they might come out and go, oh, I'm fighting in an Napoleonic war with a sword. I don't know if that would actually be right, if they use swords in that war, but anyway. I don't know, so some bastards just cut my arm off. And they wake up with this realisation, oh, it was from a past life. Oh, look, my arm's fine now. No, it does actually happen. Now, there are psychological arguments that the reason that happens is because the regression, a bit like dreaming at night, is a metaphor, is a story, and it just is the right time for them to let go of this problem. There's those that would argue that whether they're doing it at a very conscious level or unconsciously, that they're just attention seeking. There's equally those people that would argue and swear blind that they did have a previous past life and that is genuine, and knowing that now has kind of resolved something for them. Personally, I couldn't give a flying fuck which of the 3 it is, as long as they pay me and they go away happy. So yeah, we'll do a bit on regression tomorrow. Yeah, good stuff. Right. Really, at that point, then, all I need to say is this: there are 6 taxis booked for 7:45 p.m., 7:45 precisely, 1945 hours. Great British Mean Time. No, let's have no confusion about this. I will be in the bar, where a lot of people will be, come 7:30ish or now for the pissheads. But at 7:45, 7:45, we will be stood at the end here, because 6 taxis are coming at the same time to take those who booked the name down to the restaurant, because we're booked in at 8. I will see you all in the bar, because I'm going to get a drink in a minute. Thank you for your kind attention. If you have got any other questions, obviously ask me in the bar or over the meal or just leave them till tomorrow, or whatever feels right for you. For now, thank you for your attention. I hope you've not so much learned something today, but I would say more realistically, hopefully, reminded you or shown you that you may have already known but didn't realise you knew, and opened your eyes to, you know, the possibilities that you can do anything and everything you want, and you don't need a special course for this, a special course for that, because it all comes back to the same building blocks. And on that note, we're halfway through the course now. They've got another 3.5 days before they're halfway. On that note, thank you for your kind attention. I'll see you in the bar shortly, and I'll see you tomorrow morning in here at 10 AM. Thank you. Good night.